Hi, I'm Jake Grez, also known as Nurse Jake. As a travel nurse, I've worked in all kinds of places, different settings, cities, and climates. Every assignment brings on a new challenge, which is why I always bring my figs. These scrubs are built for whatever the job throws at you. They're breathable, flexible, and comfortable in any environment. No matter where I land, I know they're going to keep me looking and feeling my best. And don't sleep on the details. The pockets, the features, the finishing touches, everything has a purpose, and it makes a real difference when you're moving nonstop. The fit is clean, tailored, and super polished, and they come in a huge range of colors. In other words, they feel great throughout a 12-hour shift, and they always look good. See every healthcare professional on Instagram. If you work in healthcare or know someone who does, check out Figs and get 15% off your first order at wearfigs.com with code FIGSRX. That's wearfigs.com, code FIGSRX.
If you've spent any time on social media lately, you've probably seen cortisol blamed for everything from belly fat to insomnia to feeling tired all the time. Cortisol has become one of the most talked about and most misunderstood hormones in health and wellness. The truth is that cortisol is not something we need to eliminate or fix. In fact, we could not survive without it. The real question isn't whether cortisol is good or bad. The question is whether cortisol is being released at the right times and in the right amounts to support our health. And for many people in midlife, that's where things can get complicated. On today's episode, we'll take a look at the much maligned hormone cortisol and how it plays an important role in midlife. I'm Jay, and this is Somnilopod. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am so glad that you decided to join me today as we move through our 40s and 50s and early 60s. Life often becomes more demanding rather than less. Careers reach peak responsibility. Parents may require caregiving. Financial pressure increases, children launching into adulthood. At the same time, our bodies are changing. Sleep may become less predictable. Recovery takes longer, and many people notice that they don't handle stress quite the same way they did 20 years ago. All of these factors can influence how our stress response system functions. And at the center of that system is the hormone cortisol. Now, cortisol is a hormone produced by the adrenal glands, and they sit on top of the kidneys. And while it's commonly known as the stress hormone, cortisol actually plays a much broader role in human health. It helps regulate blood pressure, metabolism, immune function, inflammation, blood sugar levels, energy production, and the sleep-wake cycle. One of cortisol's most important jobs is helping the body adapt to challenges. Now, in healthy individuals, cortisol follows a predictable daily rhythm. Levels begin rising before we wake up and typically peak within the first hour after awakening. This phenomenon, known as the cortisol awakening response, helps prepare us for the demands of the day. From there, cortisol gradually declines throughout the day and reaches its lowest levels during the night, allowing sleep-promoting hormones such as melatonin to take center stage. This rhythm is not a flaw in our biology. It is one of the reasons we feel alert in the morning and sleepy at night. In other words, cortisol is supposed to rise. The problem occurs when stress becomes chronic and recovery becomes scarce. Modern life presents a challenge that our ancestors rarely faced. Historically, stress was often acute and temporary. A threat appeared, the body responded, and eventually the danger passed. Today, many stressors never fully disappear. Work deadlines, financial concerns, family obligations, political news, social media, constant notifications, that phone just dinging and dinging and dinging, and ongoing uncertainty can create a state of low-level stress that persists for months or even years. When the brain perceives stress, it activates a network called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. That's often shortened to the HPA axis. This system coordinates the release of cortisol and other hormones that help us respond to challenges. In the short term, this response is remarkably effective. Cortisol helps mobilize energy, sharpen attention, and support survival. But when stress becomes chronic, the body may spend too much time preparing for challenges and not enough time recovering from them. This is one reason many midlife adults describe feeling tired but wired, physically exhausted, mentally overstimulated, ready for bed but unable to settle down. And while cortisol is rarely the sole cause of these symptoms, research suggests that chronic stress and poor sleep can disrupt the normal HPA axis regulation and contribute to difficulties with sleep, mood, metabolism, and overall well-being. Sleep and cortisol have a particularly close relationship. Healthy sleep maintains normal cortisol rhythms. At the same time, cortisol helps regulate normal sleep-wake timing. When stress, insomnia, sleep apnea, shift work, or inconsistent sleep schedules interfere with sleep quality, the body's stress response systems may also become affected. This can create a frustrating cycle. Poor sleep increases stress, stress makes sleep more difficult, and the cycle just repeats itself night after night. Many people also notice changes in weight during midlife. Cortisol is often blamed directly for abdominal weight gain, but the reality is more complex. Chronic stress may influence appetite, food choices, insulin sensitivity, and eating behaviors. And poor sleep can further increase hunger hormones and cravings for calorie-dense foods. Together, these factors may contribute to weight gain over time. And your mood may also be affected. When people are under prolonged stress, they may experience greater anxiety, irritability, emotional exhaustions, or difficulty concentrating. Researchers continue to investigate how chronic stress and alterations in HPA axis function affect brain regions involved in memory, emotional regulation, and decision making. Inflammation is another important piece of the puzzle. Under normal circumstances, cortisol helps regulate inflammatory activity. However, long-term stress and chronic sleep disruption are associated with changes in immune function and inflammatory signaling. Researchers believe these changes may contribute to some of the health challenges that become more common as we age, including cardiovascular disease, metabolic disorders, and mood-related conditions. There is good news, however, and it's that supporting healthy cortisol patterns does not usually require expensive supplements or complicated biohacks. The foundations remain surprisingly simple. Consistent sleep schedules help reinforce healthy circadian rhythms. Exposure to natural morning light helps synchronize the body's internal clock and supports healthy cortisol timing. Regular physical activity improves your stress resilience and overall health. And we all know my feelings on regular physical activity. Hate it, gotta do it, it's good for us. So let's get off our butts and do it. Nutritious meals also help stabilize energy levels and support metabolic function. Perhaps most importantly, the nervous system needs opportunities for genuine recovery. Stop scrolling. Stop multitasking. Make time for actual recovery. A quiet walk outside, time with friends and family, reading a book, meditate, pray, listen to music. Heck, get up and toss a ball with your kids or your grandkids or your pet. moments that allow the brain to shift from constant vigilance into restoration. These activities may seem simple, but their effects on stress physiology can be profound. One of the great myths of midlife is that exhaustion is simply the price of getting older. While aging certainly brings challenges, many people are actually experiencing the cumulative effects of stress, poor sleep, and inadequate recovery rather than aging alone. The encouraging news is that the body remains adaptable throughout life. Small improvements in sleep, movement, stress management, and daily routines can have meaningful effects on energy, mood, resilience, and your overall health. And perhaps that's the most important takeaway. Cortisol is not the villain it is often made out to be. It's a vital hormone that helps keep us alive, alert, and functioning. When symptoms such as persistent fatigue, unexplained weight changes, severe sleep disruption, high blood pressure, muscle weakness, or unusual physical changes occur, it's important to speak with a healthcare professional because medical conditions affecting cortisol regulation do exist, and they require a proper evaluation. So, check with your doctor. And for most of us, however, cortisol is not the enemy, it's a messenger. And sometimes that messenger is telling us something important, that our bodies need more recovery, more rest, and more balance than modern life often allows. Midlife may simply be the stage of life where we finally start listening. I hope you learned something from this. I know I certainly did. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, give me a call. You don't have my number. Give me an email. Send me a message. You can touch base with me at j@somnilopod.com, or you can reach me through Facebook or Instagram or any of the socials. So until we meet again, please remember to make sleep a priority. Thanks so much.